Welcome to Time Ball Games. I'm ELD, here to ask you for help in growing the channel. When we reach 2,500 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away a custom leather playmat to one lucky subscriber. So be sure to like and subscribe. Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Here we've got Jeff on depths versus Mark the Goblin King, sporting his playmat that he won with Goblins, playing Pauper. Depths is all about making a 2020 as fast as possible. And Jeff's going to take a stab with Cabal Therapy. Let's see if he can hit something in the dark. Aether Vial shows a Goblin Surgeon and a couple of Matrons along with Putrid Goblins, so a flashback on this Cabal Therapy could be very strong. Whew. That is a heck of a top deck there. Caracas is incredibly good versus Depths as it can bounce the 2020, one of the few ways of actually dealing with it once it shows up. Another Cabal Therapy, and Goblin Surgeon enters the battlefield. Now two Matrons go away, leaving Munitions Expert along with that Putrid Imp. Mark will eventually be able to get some forward momentum here. Surgeon not actually able to attack yet. It's just a 0-2. However, Putrid Imp will actually start getting in there for some damage, and eventually having access to Munitions Expert will be 3 damage a turn. Munitions Expert can also clean up some of the creatures that could become a problem. Oh, and this is like a Hogaak Depths build. We've got Stitcher Supplier. Into Satyr Wayfinder? Wow. I'm not even sure that that's the correct card. It's like a mulch with a 1/1 attached to it. And this is getting twisty real fast. Stitcher Supplier continues to mill, and going to be tapping down the Gemstone, leaving him just with black mana. I'm a little surprised he's leaving this Satyr Wayfinder on board, as it can be used to convoke for Hogaak. And very interesting. Vampire Hexmage put out. Another Aether Vial. And he's going to be passing the turn. I don't know about that line. Feels like he might have wanted to clear that Hexmage with Munitions Expert and getting in there for some damage with the Putrid Imp. I mean, this is now a Cabal Therapy, forcing the issue. Aether Vial being reset to 0 counters. Cabal Therapy is going to resolve and take the Munitions Expert. And another Hexmage. So really it's a question of how the heck are you going to get around Caracas at this point. Bajuka Bog clearing Mark's graveyard. Lotus Petal, no help there. Really going to need like a Sylvan Safekeeper. Some way to give him Shroud. Goblin Lackey entering the battlefield. First strike on Vampire Hexmage. Going to be able to keep some goblins at bay until some type of Lord shows up. Lotus Petal being used. And now Wasteland taking out Caracas. That's supposed to come into play tapped. Oh, it might have been a Ghost Quarter. So it looks to me like that Wasteland actually came in untapped. These are videos from last year after the printing of Modern Horizons. We're going back into the vault, so Elvish Reclaimer, a fairly new card at the time. And these Lotus Petals being used, I would say, a little recklessly. Not a ton of... I can't think of a reason to use the Lotus Petals when you've got the lands that you could just tap for mana. During the end step, a 2020 being made, and Jeff is going to pick it up with a 2020 during the end step, untap, and get there. Yeah, despite that Lotus Petal use, that Elvish Reclaimer really just pulling things together eventually. The ability to go get the Wasteland or Ghost Quarter. I believe it was a Ghost Quarter in this example, to actually get rid of the Caracas. One of the harder cards to answer for the deck. Wasteland really is one of the best answers to opposing Wastelands and Caracases that the deck has available. Doesn't get countered and can actually be found or tutored up with what the deck is made to do anyways. Like if you're running a card like Sylvan Scrying, Crop Rotation, Elvish Reclaimer, all of them can get your Wasteland or Caracas, or Wasteland or Ghost Quarter, compared to running something like Pithing Needle, which is something that Depths decks had done previously, like main deck for main deck Pithing Needles, for example, to try and stop opposing Wastelands. It does appear that the more sound strategy overall is to go ahead and just run a bunch of Wastelands of your own, and occasionally you can just get them. Just wasteland them out of the game, and potentially beat them down with the not totally inefficient creatures in the deck. I mean, 1 mana for a 3/4 in the form of Elvish Reclaimer is actually incredibly efficient. And when you're talking about 2 mana, 2 power first strike creatures, it's really not the worst thing in the world versus fair decks. Things like Snapcaster Mage can't stand in front of Vampire Hexmage very effectively. Neither can Baleful Strix, Icefang Coatl. I mean, there are a lot of things that are made to be trading with small creatures that Vampire Hexmage has no interest in trading with. It's just going to go right past them to the face. And Goblin certainly has a whole bunch of bodies that would normally be happy to trade with a 2/1, but that first strike really does get in the way. A Stitcher Supplier. And if Mark doesn't have an answer for this, I mean, even if he does have an answer to it, it's just an excellent reply to Goblin Lackey. If you've got a Munitions Expert, you know, they're using it on a 1 mana creature and furthering your game plan. And Mark may have kept a hand on the strength of Goblin Lackey. Does he have a mana base to continue developing? He does. He's got a Wasteland. And Pithing Needle. Difficult to say what the best option is there. Both Vampire Hexmage and Thespian Stage are both helped by the presence of this Urborg. I suppose Vampire Hexmage is the scarier of the two, as if he had a Dark Depths, he could have just made a 20/20 right there if it were not for this Wasteland. So in terms of raw speed, Hexmage is the scarier of the two. Munitions Expert takes out the Hexmage, and now 1 damage coming in. Goblin Ringleader comes in and finds Sling Gang, and not sure what the other one was. It might have been Siege Gang Commander. That Stitcher Supplier was tapped, I believe, getting in a point of damage, which I gotta disagree with. In a depths deck like this, you're gonna be essentially one-shotting them. There's no way you're gonna be racing them, and that 1 point of damage not likely to matter, whereas potentially not being able to block the Goblin Lackey could be a fatal error, which might be what we're seeing right here. Knowing who's the beatdown. Just classic Magic theory. The days of the Control Players Bible from Oscar Tan way back in the day. Figuring out your role as the aggressor or the control player and making sure that you act accordingly. If you're supposed to be keeping guys back to block and you're sending them into the red zone, you're actually doing your opponent's work for them. They were just looking to get something out of the way anyways. We've got Sting Scourger here being tutored up. Mark being careful to leave Wasteland available in case of a surprise depths. Munitions Expert being traded with the Stitcher Supplier. Ghost Quarter. So he's got an answer for the Caracas. And it looks like he's got a crop rotation. Luckily, Mark not on a green splash. Otherwise... Oh, he's got a gemstone mine anyways. This is quite bad. This is quite bad, ladies and gentlemen. 4 damage coming in. Sling Gang Lieutenant. 2 more bodies. Oh, but Sling Gang... Oh, no. Oh, no. Sling Gang is going to blow this game wide open. He could have made a 20-20 during the attack step if he had blown up that Caracas. Oh, no, never mind. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. He's got Caracas and Wasteland to deal with. He still has plenty of work to do here. He's going to crop rotate during the end step. If it was not for that Wasteland or the Caracas, either way, he would have been able to use his Ghost Quarters to blow up the opposing land, then make a 20-20 and block the Goblin Lackey. However, having 2 lands that had to be dealt with, really saving Mark here, is now he's actually got the ability to get above 20 life thanks to the Sling Gang Lieutenant. Sling Gang actually draining a point of life, does 1 and you gain 1. And that just makes an absolute mess of this situation. Looks like he's got another crop rotation, which is a bit of a game of chicken. A very interesting game. And Jeff actually scooping it up there. Counting the damage coming in, plus sacrificing all of his guys. Yeah, no, I don't know. I think you gotta actually make him swing, make a 20-20, block the Sling Gang Lieutenant, and then you can't get double duty out of everything. You've either got to sack the Goblin before damage, in which case it doesn't deal the damage. Maybe I'm reading that wrong. It is at double speed after all. But that's what it looked like to me as I'm watching this for the first time. He had crop rotation. I believe the line there is going to be to play crop rotation, go get a wasteland your opponent's wasteland. In response to them using their wasteland on your dark depths, make a 20-20, and then block the Sling Gang Lieutenant. So you'd basically do that during combat after he swings all out. And, you know, your opponent would have to also sacrifice even more guys to make sure that they don't die on the crackback. Now, I'm not sure if he had Sting Scourger already in hand or if that was a previous game. So that might actually make the whole point moot. But here we go. Vampire Hexmage versus Aether Vial. Ghost Quarters keep showing up. 2 damage coming in. A Goblin Lackey comes in and now Munitions Expert. Yes, taking down the Vampire Hexmage. You're going to be able to do 2 damage to it. Hexmage takes out a counter from the Aether Vial, and now another one shows up. Pashalik Mons. Rude. What a rude goblin. It's going to take out the Goblin Lackey. That's going to trigger Pashalik Mons, and again, Aether Vial is going to be reset. Pashalik Mons is going to ping anytime a goblin dies on Mark's side of the board. And with Thespian Stage in play, if Jeff can draw Dark Depths, it's going to be over really fast unless Mark has an answer to it. 6, there it is, the Dark Depths. Mark has got 6 damage on board. Can he get an extra 6 out of his hand? Sling Gang Lieutenant costs 4 mana. He's only got 3 available. That would do it. Swinging into a 20/20 can be Goblin Crater Maker along with Pile Driver. Everything's turning sideways. Here we go. Making a 20/20. Got to block this Pile Driver who's coming across for just infinite damage. 11 damage from this Pile Driver being prevented. And now down to 1. Oh, is this damage exact? Oh, what a fantastic game. Down to the wire. Jeff at 1 life. And Pashalik Mons allowing 1 point of damage to be dealt to Jeff as it sacrifices itself. The Goblin Crater Maker sacrifices itself to destroy a Lotus Petal, creating that final point of damage for exact lethal during the last turn that Goblins had, facing down a 20/20. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.